This Pelicans player just proved everyone wrong in a major way, even though the Pels just lost their second game in Summer League. We're going to take a look at who that player is and also rate who might make this roster and who just fell down the charts inside this edition of Pelicans Digest. What's good with it, everybody? It's your people, Melz On The MIC, back once again here on Pelicans Digest. And once again, thank you so much for subscribing. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, baby, if you want the latest on what's going on with the Pelicans, the best opinions and analysis. You can find it right here on Pelicans Digest. I really do appreciate you tuning in on this Sunday. And, of course, the Pelicans dropped another one in Summer League. Of course, the wins and losses and what's important. It's all about evaluating these players, as we stated before. But I will say this about that game last night. It was atrocious team basketball played by the Pelicans. Just atrocious. Only 7 assists in the whole game compared to like 20-something, almost 30-something by the Lakers. Now, granted, they're going up against a Lakers team that already had like 2 whole weeks of practice in them already, and already sort of had this sort of team bond going on, as opposed to the Pelicans, who put these guys together last week and then trotted them out for Summer League. If you know, the Lakers played in the California Classic the week before Summer League, so a lot of these players already knew what they do with each other. So but the Pels held on at the start of it, but it all started to fall apart in the second half due to a whole bunch of selfish basketball that was being played. It seemed like everybody was just more worried about trying to get what they could do on tape than an actual team situation. And if I'm looking at it from a GM perspective, I'm not happy with any of these guys, because none of these guys played unselfish basketball at any point. Everybody played selfish. So, you know, and that's something you got to look for. Are you willing to make your teammates better? Are you willing to sacrifice yourself to make your teammates better in certain situations? That's what you got to be looking for, and you just didn't see that at all last night with the Pelicans Summer League squad. But I will say this, we'll get into the good stuff right now. Let's go ahead and get into the good about what's going on. Y'all just need to go ahead and give Antonio Reeves his contract back. Just go ahead, man. Just go ahead and get the boy's contract back, man. That man was playing like a Lamborghini payment is due. like I think his cardinal for his Lamborghini is due, and y'all took his contract away. Go ahead and give it back to him, man. Go ahead and give it back to him. Reeves finished with 20.6 rebounds last night. His second straight 20-point-plus game in this Summer League. And the man, y'all waved this man, told him to compete. He competing. Now, I will say this. He is horrendous on defense and continues to be. But if he can give me 20 points off the bench tonight, I can deal with that. I am willing to deal with that with Antonio Reeves. I think he was like a minus 15 when he was on the floor, because he was another one that wasn't trying to facilitate or pass the ball. He was trying to get on film. He was trying to get his stats on film. So at the end of the day, go ahead and get the man a contract back. Go ahead and give it to him. Just go ahead. The man trying to play like a Lamborghini payment dude. That's all I know. I went on his Instagram and saw that he got a Lambo. So yeah, that Lamborghini payment dude. The man playing like it. He's trying to get on this roster. As far as something I said in a video before, I thought the most intriguing battle of this Summer League would be between Antonio Reeves and Trey Alexander, the G League Rookie of the Year that the Pels signed as a free agent on a 2-way contract just before the start of Summer League. But I think he got hurt in the game last night, and also in the few minutes that he was in, he didn't show too much. So I think he's starting to fall off the charts in terms of making this roster. But again, the full-time roster anyway. But again, you got him on a G League contract. You know, again, he's showing that he's capable of flashes of brilliance. I think he's going to stay on that contract for now, especially after dealing with that injury. Was sad to see that Micah Peavy didn't play, but of course, I saw him go down with like an injury in the first game, and he was holding his ankle, but he continued to finish that game. But the Pels went ahead and held him back, which was a good thing, so we didn't get to see him in much action. Another player that is starting to rise on the charts is Lester Quinones. And maybe, now I may have gotten this wrong before, but maybe Quinones and Reeves is the battle. You know, I might say that it might have been Alexander they brought in because of the timing of how it all went, where they released Reeves' contract, waived Reeves' contract, and brought in Alexander. I thought that was going to be the competition, but it looks like Lester Quinones is emerging. But he didn't show much last night. He only had 7 points. It was another one that didn't want to pass the damn ball. Was just more on trying to get some tape on himself. The only problem I see with Quinones is the fact that he gets a little wild on defense, a little prone to lots of reaching fouls, unnecessary fouls in some situations where he's wildly slapping at the ball in the ball handler's hands. I would like to see him be more controlled because once he starts slapping away, that usually means the guy's going to get by him. Once he's flat-footed and trying to slap away at the ball. So I think that might be an issue for Quinones, but I would say that he has risen at least a little bit on the charts as far as the making the team in my situation. I think he's risen a little bit further than Chase Hunter, the Chase Hunter player that they signed as well. He did horrendous last night. He was just falling all over the floor and fumbling the ball all over the place. So, again, I think the battle will continue. But as far as Reeves, I think Reeves is, if you got two, if from what I read, the Pels have 2 permanent roster spots available. If you give that one to Reeves, the question is who's going to get the second one out of these guys that's remaining if you want to offer them that second one. And right now, as far as the leaderboard goes, I got Reeves at number 1, making the roster. Kenon is second, okay? And third is still a toss-up. I think you can still try to figure out the situation between Trey Alexander and Chase Hunter, and also Shoemate, who I again had a great game last night as well. As far as he didn't score much, he didn't do much on the boards, but he was very active in a lot of situations. So I would keep him third on the list. But now we got to get to the bad, man. What we saw that was pretty bad last night. And Jeremiah Fears, another one who didn't want to pass the ball, was selfish. Still got his 15. But you can see throughout the game that Bronny James had him on lock. And give props to Bronny James, man. At least that man is at least trying to, if anything, carve out a role on this team as being a defensive presence. Because I think his pops realized, hey, you might not be the offensive juggernaut that I am, but you could be a defensive presence. You can at least get in front of these guys. And Fears had issues last night with Bronny James. If we go keep it, let's keep it a buck here. I mean, you got to give the kid the props that he held up Fears. And Fears also, in my opinion, with his continued, I guess, situation in play, may play himself into the second line, in my opinion. Unless he begins to show more of that vision again like he did in the first game with Eve Missy and everyone else. If he's able to showcase more of that passing ability, then I could see him possibly being on the first line and starting at the start of the season. But I'm also starting to think that he's playing his way out of that first line because of the fact that you're bringing in Jordan Poole and Kevon Looney, who have sort of a chemistry together. And so what I liked about with him was he had a little chemistry with Eve Missy. And they seemed to have developed something. And he was trying to seem like he was trying to develop something with Queen, but it just couldn't work because the Lakers just played better defense. So again, I'm not worried about this kid. He's on the roster regardless what happened. He is the future of this team. You're going to be able to build around this kid no matter what happens. I'm just more concerned about some things you need to fix with him this season, going into this season, going into training camp especially. And get some of these older guys to go talk to him, man. And you know, some of these older players, get a Murray or one of these guys to go talk to this kid, man. And get him to understand that he has to be the general that not only is capable of taking over the game, but is also willing to facilitate and look out for other players. I think that is important, and that's something that they should be investigating and helping this kid improve on. Another problem that I saw last night, again, was with Derek Queen and his defense. I think somebody said in the comments a couple of days ago that his defense is a little lackadaisical and still wanting. Another fantastic double-double night, 12 and 13, was more consistent throughout the game, but like somebody said in the comments, I did see some problems with his defense, and I think you cannot play him at the 5 anymore. If you're going to bring him onto this team, don't play him at the 5. I think you should play him at the 4. And I know there's bigger power forwards and stuff like that could probably bully him around, but with time, I think he could be a much better 4 than what he is at a 5 right now. That's just my opinion. I mean, there were certain plays where they left him at the 5, and the Lakers began scoring at will. So I think you need to move him into maybe start looking at him at more of the power forward position and not starting, but at this point backing up. Because, again, one thing we got to consider when we have all this talent on this team is that you still want to have a quality first unit and second unit that can maintain when the first unit gets off. You have enough players here in New Orleans that can do that, in my opinion. If you can put together the right formations and lineups, I think you have, with some of these rookies and some of these veterans, a good chance to go deep if you have a first and a second line that can compete both equally, and give you those points. Give me some guys that can give me a double off the bench and starting. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So, but again, I think Queen is going to be okay. I really do think he's going to be okay. They just got to get him up to speed quicker, in my opinion, going into the season, before the season starts, especially in training camp. Got to get him up to speed quicker. The other issue, I think, is Yves Missi. Yves Missi, in my opinion, I've been big on Yves Missi on this show. I actually have said that I am down for him to be your starter on opening night. And he did great. Once again, 7 points, 11 rebounds. I think he had 3 blocks as well. Unless you play, I would like to see him and Fears in a combo in some way, shape, or form. I think those two are going to work well together, him and Jeremiah Fears. And if you want to start that, that's cool, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would say Missi may have to go to the second line to maintain some order on that second line. And again, I say it again, you may have to start the season with a Jordan Poole and a Kevon Looney as your point guard and center and run a 2-man game with them and see if that'll work. Because Missi still has, I see, a little issue as far as movement in the offense and moving and getting in position in front of guys and stuff like that. I'm starting to see some of the knocks that some of you guys have said about Missi's game. And I kind of saw it be exposed last night. Still, I think he's your primary rim defender. Do I think and I'm still leaning towards him starting, but we're gonna have to see these last 2 games here in Summer League. If he can show us something different. Because so far, it still looks like he's still developing, and the elements are there. It still looks some rawness there that still needs to be homed in. And I'm still of the agreement that if you like what you see after this 3rd game, you can go ahead and shut him and Fears down. The other guys need some more work, but I think you can go ahead and shut Missi and Fears down, especially Missi, to get him ready for the season so you don't put too much wear and tear on his situation going into the season so he don't be injured. So a lot to see. What were your thoughts on the game last night, and what are you thinking so far about the Pels as far as depth chart goes, and who's going to make this roster? Remember, if I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong here, but there's 2 roster spots up for grabs, 2 of them. So who so far has those roster spots in your opinion? Big shout out to Hunter Dickinson as well. He's on a 2-way, so I think he's going to be just fine. As he's going to Birmingham back and forth, and he gets developed and all that. But what are your thoughts on last night's action and what you've seen so far in Summer League and who you think can make this roster? Come on, let's get your fantasy basketball on inside Pelicans Digest. Based off of what you've seen, who you think should be on the roster and who you think we need to go ahead and just cut ties with not. Clap back with your thoughts. And once again, thank you so much for subscribing and checking out Pelicans Digest, one of the fastest growing Pelicans podcasts out here on these internets. Clap back with your thoughts, man. Let's keep the conversation going about the Pels. It's Melz talking about them Pels. I'll catch you next time.